Deep in the forests of Central America and South Africa, there is a strange phenomena of the existence of carnivorous trees. These plants have been documented to consume the flesh of insects, birds, and even entire humans. One of the most infamous of these trees is the Yataveo, which translates to "I can see you." It is described as having a short, thick trunk. On its surface, it is embedded with large spines and edges that have the appearance of daggers. In contrast to its dangerous design, it puts on an outer layer, disguise, that actually looks quite comfortable and soft. This has tricked many prey into lounging on it. Once the unsuspecting victim relaxes their feet in the center of the tree, the plant begins its devilish work. Its spines have been recorded to rise up like snakes and wrap around the victim's body. Once they have become completely entangled, they are then elevated upwards, and the daggers of the tree start to slowly sink into their flesh like claws, squeezing the body till its blood is all juiced out. Once the body has been drained of life, it is then thrown onto the ground. In August 1892, there was a report of another carnivorous tree in Sierra Madre, Mexico. This one in particular was documented by a man named Dr. Andrew Wilson, who wrote about this infamous tree in his work called Science Jottings. He described it as having slimy branches that it used to wrap its prey around. According to Wilson, this plant lived on birds because all around it were bones and feathers of chickens. It was theorized that once this tree wrapped its prey, it drank the blood out using its suckers located on its branches. Shockingly, when he himself touched one of the branches, it wrapped around his hand so tightly that it became a struggle to break free. Eventually, he freed his hand, but at the cost of peeling some of his skin off. It became clear to him that this tree not only feasted on animals, but it was capable of consuming humans as well. The third and most eerie encounter with these predatory trees was recorded in 1924. A former governor of Michigan by the name of Chase Salmon Osborne published a book where he detailed an experience of an East African island. While staying there, Osborne gained access to a letter that was dated all the way back in 1878. This letter was between a German traveler and his Polish friend. Now, these two men went to the island and befriended a tribe called the Mikotos, who led them to an area deep within the forest. They finally stumbled upon the carnivorous tree, recording its appearance in rather great detail. It was 8 feet tall and shaped like a pineapple. At the top, it had exactly 8 leaves that were each approximately 12 inches in length. In the inner parts of this plant were embedded spikes, and at the apex of the tree, there resembled a bowl-like structure that contained an intoxicating, sticky liquid. What the two men were not prepared for was a rather gruesome and horrifying sight. The Mikoto tribe was actually ready to sacrifice a woman, and they were going to literally put her in the tree. They started to scream at her and forced her to climb the tree's trunk and drink the sticky content from the bowl. As soon as she did, this action seemingly woke the tree up because its stems began to coil themselves around her limbs. The nightmare did not end there, though. The plant's tendrils instantly held her, using a firmer grip, and the large leaves slowly elevated upwards and closed in on her. The leaves did not just cover her up and hold her there. They were so strong that they literally began to press in on her so tightly that her blood began to drip down along with the tree's natural liquid. The tribe members were ecstatic, and when they witnessed all of this, they ran towards the tree and drank her blood along with the sweet liquid. Absolutely horrified, the two men made an excuse and ran away, only to go back and observe the tree by themselves. What they noted was that the tree remained in its original position while it was attacking its prey for approximately 10 days. On the final day, they noticed a white skull at the foot of the tree. The governor who had access to this letter was highly intrigued, so much so he traveled to Madagascar to witness the man-eating tree himself. When he got there, he encountered various people who acknowledged the species' existence, particularly the local missionaries and tribe members. While that was the case, no one showed him where it was. Osborne suspected that that was the case because perhaps the tree was just so notorious and dangerous that the locals were doing him a favor by not disclosing its exact location. There was no trace of the Mikoto tribe either. Although there was such a lack of substantial evidence, the governor still believed that the tree was out there, just solely based on the idea that Madagascar was known to be the land of the man-eating tree in ancient times. In his defense, he noted that much of the island was still left unexplored, and that he has known the existence of similar plants, albeit much less sinister than this monstrous one. Specifically speaking, he presented that back in India, there really was a plant of a much smaller stature that was also carnivorous. This plant was observed to feed on entire mice and large insects. However, this specific species didn't wait for its victim to come towards it. It actually uses a mechanism of emitting a pungent odor from its blossom, strong enough to attract rodents. Once the mouse enters inside, the plant's counterparts enfold it, and it shows no mercy as it literally liquefies and massacrates the animal. The species of this plant has not been classified as being part of other known botanical plants. While this particular species doesn't fit anywhere in their classifications, other regions such as Malaysia, Australia, and Madagascar actually do document a very rare plant that belongs in the genus known as Nepenthes. This species commonly eats even larger animals, such as frogs and birds. Honestly, you guys, this is actually a very interesting phenomena because growing up, I was always intrigued by the Venus flytrap because of its mouth-like appearance and its ability to prey on insects and other things. It's just amazing how something that grows out of the soil can have such predatory qualities that actually mirror the ones that we discussed throughout this episode. Namely enclosing the prey and juicing it till it becomes lifeless. Knowing that plants like this clearly exist, I think there's a strong possibility that those man-eating plants documented throughout history in scientific journals could exist as well. Next time, you might want to think twice before sitting on a tree, especially those unassuming ones. You just never know what might happen. Jokes aside, you guys should really go out there and embrace nature. I mean, it's such a beautiful world out there. I enjoyed this strange phenomena video because topics like these are something that is not only, intriguing to learn about, but they also give us a new perspective on life and a newfound appreciation for nature because these stories tell us that plants aren't just these species that sit there and look pretty. Like, there's a whole complex mechanism going on within them that I feel goes over our heads sometimes. When you mow the lawn, for example, you know that strong scent of grass when you cut it? Well, that's basically the grass releasing carbon-based compounds to signal that they are in danger, something they typically do when their molecules are damaged by insects and infections. Like I'm telling you guys, plants are in many ways like us, so we should really acknowledge that and take care of them because we need them to live. Not even exaggerating here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and my input, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting content.